G-Bag Nation here on your home of the Rangers, home of the Cowboys. Kristi Scales, Cowboys sideline reporter, about to join us. Saturday night's preseason game one. Chiafalo and Broaddus will have the pregame show. What is that, about 4 o'clock?
Yeah,
5 o'clock?
4 o'clock, baby.
4 o'clock pregame show on Saturday. This segment's brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call the Frankels first, 214 or 817-333-3333. There's never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. The Frankels are the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas, and here she is, Kristi Scales. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon, General. I have to say that we've had a real lack of star power here in Oxnard Cowboys training camp since G-Bag left. But I think we made up for it today.
Yeah, it looked like Dustin Hoffman was there.
Yes, and after he left the field, I got to meet him and shake his hand and have a short conversation with him. So, yes, I'm like, this is like one of the greatest training camps ever. So,
yes.
Yeah, and it's so funny because, you know, like some of the young staffers or just people, you know, they're like who? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like one of the top 2 or 3. And think about it. We've had arguably 2 of the top 3, certainly 5 male actors in like American history or living actors, you know, visit us at training camp, like with Denzel and everything. So yeah, it was very cool today.
So was Dustin a big Cowboys fan growing up? Is this
He is not a football fan at all. In fact, Dak came over and shook his hand, met him, and then after he left the field and then was walking past the tennis court, so out of the sight of the rest of the media, and, you know, kind of only the staff is allowed in that area, Cowboy staff and players and stuff. And so Jake Ferguson, who told Dustin that he studied film, I don't think he majored in it, but studied film in college. Jake, of course, went to University of Wisconsin, so he came over and, you know, wanted to shake his hand, so he got a picture with him. And so when Jake went off, Dustin's son said, oh, that's Jake Ferguson. He's tight end. And I happened to be walking by at the time. I said, not just tight end, but like Pro Bowl, like one of the really great tight ends currently in the league. And so Dustin had told media that he's not a big football fan, but he asked me if tight end is the position that OJ played.
That's awesome. Wow.
I'm like, no, sir. He played running back, but if you've heard of Mike Ditka.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes. He's like, well, he actually went into the he's a Hall of Famer, not as a coach, but a tight end. He used to play tight end for the Cowboys. So Dustin Hoffman says to me, oh, you know a lot about football. And so I introduced myself and said I'm a sideline reporter. But anyway, at least I can say that I'm a big, film girl, obviously. So I'm sorry I'm fangirling out here. But,
no, I love it.
Anyway, but that's one of the great things of camp is you never know, or anything with Cowboys or being on the field before the game. I mean, you're going to meet so many people who are stars in different career fields and stuff, you know, so that was really cool.
Since you're a film gal and all that, I was looking up Dustin Hoffman's biggest films, and like, I think the only one I've seen was Rain Man, which comes in at number 6. What do you think's the best Dustin Hoffman movie?
Well, All the President's Men, right? So he plays Carl Bernstein, Woodward and Bernstein. That's the Watergate movie, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. He won an Oscar for Kramer versus Kramer. I'm a big Merrill fan, so that one's probably my favorite. But, oh, my gosh, Midnight Cowboy, Meet the Fockers.
Yes, Bernie Focker. He's a great Bernie Focker.
He's excellent as Lenny and Lenny Bruce, in Lenny as Lenny Bruce. So, there's so many. Don't put Ishtar on the list. That's known as one of the biggest flops in film history. But, there's too many to name. So, Tootsie, right? Tootsie.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
keep that ish out of here, though.
Sorry, I'm off track. I know people want to hear about Cowboys. But.
Well, what were your takeaways from practice today, Kristi, outside of the great Bernie Focker?
Actually, some really good plays by the defensive backs. Everybody keeps talking about Revel. A couple of good breakups today, but Kobe Durant was right there as well. P.J. Locke had a pick. He's the free agent addition veteran at safety. And so, it was good. Offense still made some plays too, but it's just really fun to see, especially the secondary flying around, and what was really good to see see in the joint practice on Tuesday, going back to earlier in the week, is even though you can't, there's still a halo around the quarterback, and nobody's taking anybody to the ground or anything like that. You got a little bit better idea of the pass rush, because that's something that you really can't see in any team periods in practice, but you get a little bit better hint in the joint practice. And I thought it was good. Like, Ezraku had a good day in the joint practice. So, we're not going to see the top guys. You're not going to see Rashawn Gary and stuff like that when you get to preseason. So, the joint practice was the best dose we have so far. And the good news is, with the joint practice here in Oxnard next Tuesday against the Saints, we'll get to see those first teamers go against the Saints.
Do you feel like George Pickens has been maybe the star of camp to this point?
Oh, my gosh. Well, he's the one that electrifies the fans more than anybody else. And CD as well. But, man, when Pickens makes a play, and, of course, the way he just reaches up and plucks the ball out of the air or leaps or, whatever. But that's the one you can hear the fans behind you like, George, or he'll be kind of near their area, and they're like, Pickens. So it's funny to see who the crowds really embrace. And he got some of that, last year, but new to the team. But, man, I mean, he is really one of the crowd favorites, if not the crowd favorite this year.
So for Saturday's game, Kristi, who are you kind of circling as players you're going to have your eye on?
Well, let's figure out who the second-string quarterback's going to be. And it's going to be a full 3-game evaluation preseason. And, again, good to have 2 joint practices to see him go against another team. But, I really do believe the coaches when they say that it's an open competition. So I'm anxious to see that. I want to see some of the young, like Malachi Lawrence. I'm just picking a guy here because I was talking about pass rush before. So I'd like to see that. The cornerbacks, Revel has just had such a good joint practice and such a great camp. I would say he's one of the true standouts, and I think he's going to get a lot of work. And then, some of the guys coming back from previous years who've had injury histories and I'm talking about the Josh Butlers and the Kalen Carsons of the world. So, are they going to be able to carry some of the momentum that they've had being healthy through the first few weeks of camp and have that show up, in game time in preseason? And then a guy like who's kind of out of nowhere this past week, a lot of fans don't know the name Camden Brown, but at wide receiver, I mean, he's last year kind of Trayshawn Holden was kind of the, guy that was getting some media love and fan love, like, oh, this guy, may have good, camp and make practice squad, or can he make the 53? But Cam Brown has really stood out the last couple days. Last week. And then I'm anxious. I think these rookie tight ends are going to get a ton of work with Trigg. And I know people are kind of focusing on him, but I can tell you that the staff really likes DJ Rogers as well. So Trigg is the kid from Baylor, Rogers is the kid from TCU, and Rogers is a good blocker. And, so I don't think that everyone should just circle Trigg and say, oh, he's going to be the guy. Now, is he going to be the one that makes 3 or 4 spectacular catches over the course of preseason? Yeah, and everyone will be really fired up about that. But let's see that he doesn't have any blown assignments, blocking-wise, and see how he does with his blocking. So he needs to improve in that area. But talking with Linda Wells, the tight ends coach, he says, he just needs to work. He wasn't asked to do a lot of that or line up at the end of the line in college and do that. And so he really working from the ground up, footwork and base and just all that kind of stuff. And so, he's got a big learning curve, but the main thing Linda said was that he's more than willing. He just has to execute the technique, and they're still working on the technique with him.
What are the chances we get to see the 3 top rookies in Saturday night?
It's funny because Shoddy said today that Caleb may get some work, and that kind of surprised, and he didn't necessarily mean this Saturday in Seattle, but may get some work in preseason. And that kind of surprised me a little bit because I don't know that I would put him out there if it were me. But I think you'll see Lawrence for sure. Barham isn't back yet, right? So from injury, he wasn't practicing again today, so we won't see him. But you know, the guys like the Drew Sheltons of the world, yeah, they're going to get a lot of work. And, you know, someone who's not really getting mentioned, but one of the scouts, and was the first day we arrived, I asked one of the longtime scouts, okay, who's under the radar, but you're kind of excited to see. And that doesn't mean predicting that this guy is going to be a big star. My question is in context of who do you think has the ability but really has a chance to step out and shine. And he says Anthony Smith. So, okay. So we'll see if how much work and opportunity he gets in these preseason games.
Kristi Scales with us here on The Fan. You've got a unique perspective being on the sidelines every year, and you've been covering this team for a long time. So for you, when you're looking at this team, the leadership, and all about the culture Shoddy's been putting together, it does seem like, at least from a leadership ability, Dak is not alone anymore. What have you kind of taken away, and do you feel that there's a big difference this year?
There is on the defensive side of the ball, particularly. And, it's not just that Clark and Quinnen, and of course they did spend time, regular season, or at least with Quinnen half the season, but just the quality of people that they are. And I tell you, the staff just absolutely loves what Rashawn Gary brings, not just from a physical skill set, what he can add on the field, but they rave about him and the way that he's helping the young guys. So it's absolutely there. And then everybody knows that, Caleb Downs, all the kudos he's getting for his, approach and mindset and being so serious-minded and studious. So, but the young guys, it's the right kind of guys that they brought in, but certainly the leadership on the defensive side of the ball, in my mind, has stepped up, and it's had to because there's so much turnover player-wise, and then with the coaching staff. And you say, like, your unique perspective of being on the sideline, I love the preseason because even if you don't have a full change on one side of the ball, like we have defense staff this year, it was offense last year. I love the preseason to see how the new coaches, how they interact with the players and how the veterans, and then you see the veterans mature, right? The guys come in young and then they kind of move up, in tenure and become the leaders. And so you see the guys grow. And you can really tell it. I'm going to use, do I have time to give an example of a young person here?
Yes, please.
Justin Barron, the backup linebacker who was practice squad last year for all but 2 games, had the 3 interceptions in the joint practice. I went up to him last year early in the season. I'm like, are you a coach's kid? Because of the serious approach, like a gym rat, but on the field, even though he was practice squad and not playing, he would wear the earpiece and listen to the calls and was like really involved in the position group, huddling, when the defense was in the bench area. And so you see that studious and serious-minded approach, and then he comes and has a great joint practice, and you see it come to fruition on the field. So it's really fun to see those young guys take advantage of opportunities, a guy like Justin.
Thank you so much, Kristi. Thanks so much for joining us. What is this, year 28 for you? 27?
28 on 28? The sideline and 36 overall with Cowboys radio.
Oh, let's go. Appreciate you.
Legend.
Have a great weekend, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Salute.
Bye-bye.
Cowboys sideline reporter Kristi Scales here with you on The Fan.